Looking at the JSE, or the local market staging a rebound today with the all share up close to 1.5%. That really being boosted by the resources 10 complex up 4.7%. Also in the green, the financial 15 and the industrial 25. Viv Govender from Rand Swiss Offshore joins us now for a full look into the day that was in markets. Viv, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Maybe let's start with some of the international news. We touched on NVIDIA, but I'd like to get your sense around the Fed minutes coming out later on as well. It does seem like we're dealing with a Fed that's divided, right? Just at the last meeting, Fed Chair Jerome Powell had warned that the December cut is not a given, and that, of course, influencing market expectations with bets being lowered from about 90% to about 40%. What are your expectations on that front?
Yeah, look, the problem is that the Fed doesn't have any information, unfortunately, because of the government shutdown. And so they've missed a couple months, effectively, of information. In fact, we're getting non-farm payrolls coming out tomorrow, and they usually come out on the first Friday of the month, and they're only going to be for the last period. So it's going to be a very, interesting number when we do see it. The problem with the U.S. at the moment is that there's a bit of a bifurcated market. There are signs that, the economy is growing reasonably well, but there's also signs that unemployment is rising. There's also signs really out there about, from companies that like anecdotal evidence about the number of people buying breakfast at McDonald's or the amount of shopping being done by certain income groups, etc. And I think what's happening is you're finding a bit of a bifurcation market. The lower income groups are under a lot of pressure. Foreclosures, for instance, are also, at quite high levels compared to historical levels. And I do think that putting all those things together, what we are seeing is probably a tick up in unemployment while we are seeing the overall economy still remaining reasonably strong, which is a difficult, I think, situation for the Fed to be in.
Let's look at what's playing out here at home. Inflation out, ticking higher at 3.6% in October, highest level in over a year. Taking that print into account and also the move to lower the inflation target, are you expecting a cut from the SARB tomorrow?
In the Fed, sorry, the SARB is looking to be cutting, but if you look at the new target here, which is 3%, and they consider 1% either way. So we're talking about effectively a 2 to 4% range, and 3.6% is the upper end of that level. But according to analysts out there, they think this is going to be the peak. They expected the 3.6%. It was not a surprise, and they think this is also going to be the peak. And so the SARB does have a bit of leeway here. The danger does arise is that if we go up to 4%, previously our target was effectively 4.5%.
Yes.
The halfway point between 3 and 6. At 4%, which was inflation is below your target level or within your range. You don't have to raise interest rates, you don't have to react. But after announcing a new 3% target with a 1% variation either side, we go to 4.1, 4.2. The market's going to be looking for the SARB to start tightening in that environment, and they probably are going to be under pressure because they're establishing a new level. I mean, they haven't built a trust for 3% yet, if you know what I mean. So they're probably going to have to be aggressive to make sure that that 4% level is kept too at the upper end. So I do think that the danger we do have is that if we do see inflation rise, much more than this, the SARB's going to be under a huge deal of pressure to start increasing interest rates again.
All right, we don't seem to have time to get into any of the other news, so I'll get into your stock pick. Where are you seeing value at the moment?
In Alphabet, the share price is up after some good results, as well as the the release of Gemini 3. Gemini 3 is the latest version of their AI tools model, and the thing is that it seems to be quite a significant jump up beyond other models out there at the moment. And I do think that Google has always had, Alphabet Google has always had an advantage in the technology behind AI, just not the actual implementation of it into the marketplace. And Gemini 3 just shows that they still maintain this technological lead.
And it's up 5% at the moment. Viv, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for your time and sharing your insights with us this evening. That was Viv Govender from Rand Swiss Offshore.